The Force is with you, young Skywalker. But you are not a Jedi yet.
There is great disturbance.
Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, released in 1980, is one of the most iconic films in cinema history. It's not only beloved by fans for its incredible storytelling, but it also introduced shocking twists, unforgettable moments, and unforgettable characters. However, did you know there are hidden details, behind-the-scenes secrets, and shocking truths that many fans have never noticed? From hidden Easter eggs to unexpected production decisions, today, we're diving into 11 shocking facts about The Empire Strikes Back that will blow your mind. 1. The dark side of the filming location. Let's start with the filming location. Most of The Empire Strikes Back was filmed in the remote hills of Norway, specifically the breathtaking backdrop of the Hoth scenes. But here's the shocking truth. The crew faced extreme conditions. While it may look cold, the conditions were beyond freezing. Temperatures were so low that the film's equipment malfunctioned, and actors had to battle harsh winds and snowstorms while filming. But here's the kicker. The crew filmed inside the snowstorm. That blizzard you see? Real snow, real wind, real cold. The production team even built a set in a hangar to protect from the elements when it got too bad. But this helped capture that cold, icy vibe that made Hoth feel so immersive. 2. The famous line was a secret. Okay, fans are definitely familiar with one of the most quoted lines in movie history. No, I am your father. But did you know that this line wasn't even originally in the script? Mark Hamill, who played Luke Skywalker, didn't know that Darth Vader was his father until the recording of that scene. Director Irvin Kershner wanted to preserve the shocking twist, so he instructed actor James Earl Jones, the voice of Vader, to say, "Obi-Wan killed your father" in the script. When the cameras were rolling and Mark Hamill reacted to that line, they captured his raw, genuine emotion. Hamill was completely blindsided, and the expression of shock on his face is real. It was pure acting magic in the moment and one of the most memorable moments in cinematic history. 3. The Yoda puppet was not easy to work with. Yoda, the wise Jedi Master, the heart and soul of the film. But creating him was no easy feat. Frank Oz, the genius behind Yoda's puppetry, had to struggle with making Yoda appear realistic. The puppet was heavy, difficult to maneuver, and often required multiple people to operate. But here's the crazy part. The puppet's head was so heavy that Frank Oz had to hold it up with one hand while operating Yoda's mouth, arms, and eyes with the other. Not only that, but the film crew had to use an elaborate setup of wires to get Yoda to move smoothly, making his performance more complex than anyone realizes. This led to longer shooting days, but the results were well worth it. 4. Harrison Ford almost didn't return as Han Solo. Harrison Ford's portrayal of Han Solo in The Empire Strikes Back was pivotal, but he almost didn't return for the sequel. Ford was in the midst of negotiating his contract for the film, and was reportedly not keen on reprising the role. He had serious doubts about the future of the franchise, but after many talks with George Lucas, he finally agreed to return. Imagine the movie without Harrison Ford's charming swagger and iconic lines. It's hard to imagine, but thankfully, Ford returned and delivered one of the most memorable performances of his career. The character of Han Solo would not have been the same without him. 5. The sound of the AT-ATs is unbelievably unique. Now, let's talk about sound. The massive AT-AT walkers that stomp across the icy terrain of Hoth had a sound that was both terrifying and thrilling. But where did this iconic sound come from? The sound designer, Ben Burt, recorded the sound of actual elephants to create the AT-AT's distinctive stomps. The low, heavy thuds were generated from the sound of elephants walking in a zoo. But it doesn't stop there. Burt also used the sound of a record player being slowed down, combined with sounds from other animals, to make the AT-ATs sound even more menacing. The results? A sound so iconic that fans still remember it today. 6. Carrie Fisher's iconic hairstyle had a dark secret. Carrie Fisher's Leia Organa is an unforgettable character, especially with her iconic bun hairstyle. But here's something you probably didn't know. The buns were designed not only to be iconic, but also to save time. Filming schedules were so tight that, to speed up her costume changes, the hair pieces were actually attached to a headpiece worn underneath Fisher's natural hair. The entire process was so complicated that it required multiple crew members to help her get ready in just a few minutes. But despite being a clever trick for efficiency, Fisher once joked that the hairstyle caused her a lot of pain and discomfort. At times, she said, it felt like a dental procedure because of how tightly it was pulled. 7. The Wampa attack was almost too brutal. One of the most intense sequences in The Empire Strikes Back is when Luke is attacked by the Wampa on Hoth. Originally, there were darker plans for this scene. The Wampa was supposed to be much more vicious, and Luke was going to be much more brutally injured. In fact, the Wampa's claws were initially designed to be much larger, intending to make the attack more graphic. The boundaries of the film's PG rating. They wanted to make sure the film remained family-friendly, so they scaled back the violence. But you can still feel the intensity of the attack, right? 8. The incredibly difficult ice cave scene. The ice cave scene in The Empire Strikes Back, 1980, where Luke Skywalker encounters the Wampa, was quite a challenge to film, both in terms of set construction and special effects. The scene was shot in Norway, in the harsh winter conditions of Finns, and the production crew faced numerous difficulties due to the freezing temperatures and snowstorms. Here are some of the key challenges. Filming conditions. The team had to deal with the freezing cold weather in Norway, where temperatures could dip as low as -40 degrees Fahrenheit or -40 degrees Celsius. This made shooting difficult, especially for the actors and crew who had to wear winter gear and deal with the snow and wind. Equipment also had to be protected from the cold. Set design. The ice cave itself was a mix of practical and special effects. The interior of the cave was built on a soundstage at Elstree Studios in the UK. To create the illusion of an icy, snowy cave, they used materials like fake snow and ice, along with carefully designed lighting to make the environment feel otherworldly. The actual ice cave where Luke was captured was part of the set, and a lot of effort was put into designing the ice formations and ensuring they looked convincing. Wampa creature. The Wampa, a large Yeti-like creature that attacks Luke, was another challenge. The creature was created using a combination of practical effects, including a large animatronic head and puppetry. The actor inside the suit also had to navigate the difficult terrain while performing as the Wampa, which required significant effort and coordination. Filming in the snow. For the scenes where Luke is dragged by the Wampa through the snow, the filmmakers had to work with the unpredictable Norwegian weather and icy surfaces. The snow would often melt or create problems with visibility, making the shots harder to get. Lightsaber scene. Another memorable part of this sequence is when Luke uses his lightsaber to cut off the Wampa's arm. Creating this effect was difficult with the lightsaber prop, which was a combination of practical props and optical effects. This scene also required a mix of physical stunts and visual effects to make the lightsaber appear convincingly as it cut through the Wampa's arm. The challenges on set were significant, but the creativity and resourcefulness of the team allowed them to overcome them and create one of the most iconic scenes in The Empire Strikes Back. 9. The production's secret cast members. Some of the cast members of The Empire Strikes Back might surprise you. For example, did you know that The Empire Strikes Back is the film that introduced the character of Lando Calrissian? Billy D. Williams became an instant fan favorite, but the casting process was top secret. Initially, many thought that the character of Lando was going to be a villain, making his arrival even more unpredictable. Behind the scenes, Williams had to keep his role under wraps because of the film's shock value. The surprise of Lando's true nature would later become one of the most celebrated twists in Star Wars. 10. The astounding visual effects innovation. Now, let's talk about the incredible visual effects in The Empire Strikes Back. The film was known for pushing the limits of technology at the time. The team at ILM, Industrial Light and Magic, revolutionized stop-motion animation for the AT-AT walkers, creating incredibly fluid and realistic movements for the time. They also perfected techniques in matte paintings and miniatures, creating vast worlds and complex battles on a budget that was groundbreaking for the time. Some of these effects were so revolutionary that they've become the gold standard for future films, changing the way movies would be made for years to come. 11. The ending was almost completely different. Finally, let's talk about the ending. The jaw-dropping cliffhanger ending of The Empire Strikes Back, where Han Solo is frozen in carbonite, was almost completely different. The filmmakers initially planned for Han to survive and escape from the Empire's clutches, but they ultimately decided that leaving the fate of Han open would create more anticipation for the next film. The decision to end on a cliffhanger was a bold one, leaving fans hanging for 3 years until Return of the Jedi was released. It helped establish the trilogy as one of the most anticipated in movie history. Final thought. So there you have it. 11 shocking truths about The Empire Strikes Back that you might never have noticed. From the extreme filming conditions to hidden secrets in the story, this film continues to captivate and surprise us, even after all these years. What are your favorite facts about The Empire Strikes Back? Let us know in the comments below.
Very nice.